The other day, me and my friend went to see Darkest Hour, and we were the youngest in the cinema screen by about 25 to 30 years. In all seriousness, we walked in, looked around, and were surrounded by a cinema screen packed full of 40, 50, 60-year-olds. That's great. I was so glad to see my local cinema had sold out one of its screens, because quite often that doesn't happen. So it was great to see everyone coming out in force to watch this film. It was a shame that there wasn't a younger audience there. I know this film isn't aimed at the younger generation necessarily, and most 19 to 20-year-old girls are out partying on a Saturday night not watching films about Winston Churchill. But I really think it's a film that deserves to be seen by everyone. I have to start this review by talking about Gary Oldman because he was incredible. Incredible is the word I use for performances like this. I don't use incredible lightly. I said it about Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards, and I'll say it about Gary Oldman in this. Incredible. He was so captivating and completely unrecognisable. If I'd gone into this film without knowing that it was Gary Oldman and someone said to me, "What actor is that?" couldn't have told you, honestly. He dominated the screen every time he was on it, which is 99% of the film because it's about Winston Churchill and he plays Winston Churchill. Anyway, he dominates the screen. And just, it's such a powerful performance, it's awe-inspiring. He truly deserves the Oscar nomination he got today, and I really think he's gonna get it. That's my prediction. You heard it here first, Gary Oldman for Best Actor in a Leading Role at the Oscars 2018. I also love how humble he is. I know this isn't about his performance, it's more as Gary Oldman as a person, but his success at the previous awards, the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards the other day, he is so humbled by the love he's getting. Yes, Gary Oldman, you're a good egg, we love ya. As for the script, I loved the script, it was powerful, it packed a punch, it was engaging, but as maybe some of you could have already guessed from the trailer if you haven't seen the film, it is soundbitey. That's the only word I could think to describe it. That's easy to understand. Being a historical film, they've obviously taken actual literal sound bites from Churchill's speech and put it into the script, which was very effective and really roots the film in its history. There are some scenes that seem to be like building, 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 bam, the line, and you can see it coming. You sit there and you're like, he's gonna say the thing, he's gonna say the thing, and then he says the thing and it's ooh, and everyone's like and then it moves on, and it is there for effect and it works, but sometimes it can take you out of the scene a little bit. I don't know if that's for everyone, but I found in some scenes when I could see it coming, I wasn't listening to what he was saying before, I was just waiting for him to say the line. So the iconic line from the trailer, "You can't reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth." Best Actress, Oscars 2018, right here. Anyway, that line, obviously I don't deliver it quite as effectively as Gary Oldman, was effective and I loved it and it was perfectly timed, but it was built up to very noticeably. Being a historical film, the story is one that most people know. I spent all of school and college learning about modern Britain and history, Churchill being a big part of that, but I feel like I learnt quite a bit in this film that I didn't know before. Many different sides to Churchill, his sensitive side and how he was a bit of an underdog. I love stories of the underdog and this was really what this was. And for that reason it's eye-opening and it's really inspiring. This man that people had no expectations for ended up leading our country to victory. Obviously being about the Second World War and in particular Britain's victory in the Second World War, Britain and the Allies, it is very patriotic and I'm not sure how foreign audiences will take to that. It is definitely, there's no doubt about it, a celebration of Britain and victory. And I mean, so it should be. The war wasn't great and it was wonderful that we got out of it. Another small criticism, but again, something that I hardly even noticed really. I only noticed it when I thought about it, and there was a few points in the film where I thought the pacing was a little bit off. I was sat there thinking, oh, maybe this scene could have been shortened or even skipped over. But like I said, I can't praise Oldman enough. His presence on screen completely distracted from that. Even in scenes where he's just sat there, dead silence, on the side of his bed, you're like, oh my god. So again, the pacing, for the most part, it was fine. There was just a few bits where I was like... But linking to that, the film ended at the perfect time. They could have easily dragged it on for the whole length of the war, but they didn't. And the film recognises that this only happened less than a century ago. People know history, people know what happened, they don't need to be explicitly shown. And the ending was so triumphant. I was like, yes, Churchill. One final thing I definitely have to mention about this film is that it is beautiful to look at. I mean, that is to be expected from Joe Wright. Pride and Prejudice and Atonement are both two wonderfully shot films, beautiful to look at. And this one's no different. Creative camera movements, brilliant transitions. I loved the framing, the whole cinematography, the whole look, every frame, so meticulously crafted, and I love that. Even the typography, the font used to show the dates. I was like, oh, I like that font. I mean, overall, this film was inspiring, if not slightly overly patriotic. But it packs a punch, definitely. I definitely recommend this one, especially if you're interested in British history. I really enjoyed it and would definitely be up for seeing it again.